Jungkook couldn't stop smiling the entire time he was beside Seokjin, and fans immediately noticed something felt different. In the middle of the loud concert, flashing lights, and thousands of screaming fans, there was this one small moment that suddenly made ARMY pause the video over and over again. The way Jungkook looked at Seokjin didn't feel scripted, didn't feel planned, it felt natural, warm, almost too comfortable to hide. And Seokjin's reaction only made everything even more suspicious. The laughter, the eye contact, the hand touch that lasted just a little too long. Fans are now convinced there's a deeper bond between them that cameras accidentally captured on stage. Some people call it friendship, others think it's something much harder to explain. But one thing is certain, after this viral moment, nobody can stop talking about Jungkook and Seokjin anymore. The moment only lasted a few seconds, but somehow it became one of the most replayed clips from the entire concert. Fans first noticed Jungkook leaning closer to Seokjin while laughing uncontrollably, but the real reason the video exploded everywhere was not the laughter itself. It was the expression on Jungkook's face immediately afterward. For a split second, his smile softened into something quieter, something more personal, as if he had completely forgotten the cameras, the crowd, and the thousands of eyes watching from every direction. That tiny change was enough to send social media into chaos within hours. As the clip spread across fan communities, people began slowing down the video frame by frame, trying to understand why the interaction felt so strangely emotional compared to ordinary stage moments. Some fans pointed out how naturally Jungkook reached towards Seokjin without hesitation, while others focused on the way Seokjin looked back at him with an expression that seemed almost protective. It did not feel forced for entertainment. It did not feel rehearsed. Instead, it looked like two people sharing a private comfort zone in the middle of complete chaos, and that was exactly what made fans unable to move on from it. The louder the concert became, the more noticeable their energy around each other seemed to grow. Even while surrounded by flashing lights and screaming fans, Jungkook repeatedly found himself turning towards Seokjin, almost instinctively. Every small movement suddenly became a topic of discussion online. A hand resting too close. A glance lasting half a second longer than expected. A laugh that looked too genuine to fake. Fans began connecting these moments with older concert clips, interviews, and behind-the-scenes footage, slowly building theories that their bond had always been deeper than people realized. As the video continued spreading across TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and fan edits, millions of viewers became obsessed with one question nobody could answer clearly. Why does Jungkook always seem happiest when he is beside Seokjin? The question alone pushed the clip even further into viral territory. Fans who normally never paid attention to their interactions suddenly started noticing patterns everywhere. During interviews, Jungkook often relaxed the moment Seokjin spoke beside him. During concerts, Seokjin seemed to watch Jungkook carefully even while joking around with the others. Tiny details people ignored for years were suddenly impossible to unsee. Some fans believe their connection came from trust built over years together behind the scenes, surviving pressure, fame, exhaustion, and endless schedules side by side. Others felt there was an emotional understanding between them that words could never fully explain. But, regardless of the theories, one thing became undeniable after this concert. Their presence around each other created a completely different atmosphere. Softer, warmer, more real, and fans could feel it instantly through the screen. The most surprising part happened after the concert ended. Instead of disappearing like most viral clips, the moment kept growing larger every single day. More edits appeared online. More hidden camera angles surfaced. More fans admitted they felt emotional watching the interaction, even though almost nothing big actually happened. That was the strange power of the clip. It was simple, yet impossible to forget. People were not reacting to a performance anymore. They were reacting to a feeling they could not explain. And somewhere in the middle of all the theories, edits, and endless replays, one detail continued haunting fans the most. Jungkook's smile around Seokjin never looked temporary. It looked safe. Almost like, for a few brief seconds on stage, he forgot the pressure of being watched by the entire world and simply enjoyed being beside someone who understood him completely. That possibility alone was enough to keep millions of people replaying the moment again and again, searching for answers hidden inside a single uncontrollable smile. The deeper fans looked into the viral moment, the stranger everything started to feel. What originally seemed like harmless laughter between Jungkook and Seokjin slowly transformed into one of the most emotionally discussed concert clips of the year. People were no longer only talking about what happened on stage. They were talking about what they felt while watching it. And somehow, that feeling became impossible to ignore. Late at night, fan communities continued analyzing every second of the interaction. Slowed versions of the clip revealed tiny expressions most people missed the first time. Jungkook's eyes immediately searching for Seokjin after laughing. Seokjin instinctively leaning slightly closer without realizing it. The comfortable silence between them before another wave of laughter broke out again. Nothing looked exaggerated. Nothing looked designed for attention. That was exactly why fans believed the moment carried something much deeper underneath. As more angles surfaced online, viewers began noticing how differently Jungkook behaved around Seokjin compared to everyone else on stage that night. Around others, he laughed loudly, energetic as always, but besides Seokjin, his energy softened in a way fans described as unexpectedly vulnerable. His expressions looked calmer, almost relieved, like someone temporarily escaping pressure without even realizing it. For fans who had followed BTS for years, that subtle difference became impossible to overlook. Theories exploded across social media within hours. Some fans believed Seokjin had always been Jungkook's emotional safe place inside the group, especially during difficult periods hidden from the public. Others pointed out how naturally Jungkook seemed drawn toward him during live events, often standing closer than necessary even in crowded moments. Old clips suddenly returned to the spotlight. Past concerts, award shows, behind-the-scenes footage. Tiny forgotten interactions people once ignored were now being re-examined with completely different eyes. The emotional impact became even stronger because the moment happened during such a chaotic environment. Thousands of fans screaming, cameras everywhere, massive lights flashing nonstop. Yet somehow, in the middle of all that noise, Jungkook's attention repeatedly drifted back towards Seokjin. Fans described it as watching someone unconsciously searching for comfort in the middle of overwhelming pressure. Whether intentional or not, the energy between them created an atmosphere viewers could physically feel through the screen. Many fans admitted the clip affected them emotionally far more than expected. Not because of romance theories or dramatic assumptions, but because the interaction looked painfully genuine. In an industry where idols are constantly performing perfect versions of themselves, this felt raw and unguarded. Jungkook's smile did not look like an idol's smile meant for cameras. It looked personal, quiet, almost emotional underneath the laughter. And Seokjin's reaction only deepened the mystery. He watched Jungkook carefully, almost like he understood emotions nobody else around them could fully see. Soon, major fan accounts began posting side-by-side comparisons of older moments between them. The patterns became difficult to ignore. Jungkook instinctively reaching towards Seokjin during stressful situations. Seokjin subtly checking on Jungkook during chaotic events. Small gestures that seemed insignificant alone suddenly carried completely different meaning when connected together. Fans started wondering how many unnoticed moments had existed for years without anyone truly paying attention. The most viral theory claimed that their connection was built on silent understanding rather than words. Fans believed they had reached a level of comfort where even simple eye contact carried emotional weight. That theory spread rapidly because many viewers felt the exact same thing while watching the clip. There was no need for dramatic actions. The atmosphere itself felt intimate enough to spark endless curiosity. What shocked people most was how the moment continued growing instead of fading away. Days later, new edits were still appearing across every platform. Millions of views turned into tens of millions. Emotional background music, slowed zoom-ins, hidden reactions from other members in the background. Every new version pulled fans deeper into the mystery. Some viewers even admitted they could not explain why they kept replaying the clip. Something about Jungkook's expression around Seokjin felt strangely addictive to watch. As the viral attention intensified, fans began noticing another detail hidden beneath the laughter. Seokjin himself seemed unusually relaxed around Jungkook that night. His expressions looked softer, less controlled, almost like he forgot the cameras too. Whenever Jungkook laughed beside him, Seokjin's entire demeanor changed instantly. The tension disappeared from his face. That emotional synchronization between them became one of the biggest reasons fans believe their bond could never be described as ordinary. And then another unseen camera angle appeared online. The quality was blurry, the lighting unstable, but one detail immediately shocked fans everywhere. Right before the viral laughter began, Jungkook had apparently been quietly staring at Seokjin for several seconds while nobody noticed. Not laughing, not speaking, just watching him with an unreadable expression before suddenly breaking into uncontrollable smiles moments later. That single hidden angle changed everything again. Because now fans were no longer asking whether Jungkook and Seokjin were close. They were asking what exactly Jungkook was feeling in that moment, and why Seokjin seemed to understand it instantly without a single word being spoken. The blurry camera angles spread across social media faster than anyone expected. Within hours, millions of fans were replaying the exact same few seconds, trying desperately to understand the expression on Jungkook's face before the laughter began. The more people watched it, the more emotional the moment became. There was something unusually quiet in his eyes while looking at Seokjin, something that did not match the chaotic concert atmosphere surrounding them. It was not excitement. It was not performance energy. It looked deeper than that, almost like a moment of silent relief hidden inside the noise. Fans immediately noticed the difference. Normally, Jungkook's stage energy exploded outward toward the audience, full of confidence and intensity. But around Seokjin that night, his attention seemed to narrow completely. The world behind them disappeared. Thousands of fans screaming became background noise. Even the other members moving around the stage felt distant compared to the strange emotional focus between the two of them. And the more people analyzed it, the more impossible it became to dismiss as a random interaction. What made the clip even more addictive was Seokjin's reaction immediately afterward. The moment Jungkook started laughing, Seokjin's expression changed too, almost instantly. Fans described it as the look of someone who already understood the emotion behind the smile before anyone else noticed it. That single detail sent entire fan communities into emotional chaos. People started asking themselves how two people could communicate so naturally without speaking at all. Soon, older stories from behind-the-scenes interviews began resurfacing online. Fans remembered moments where Jungkook quietly admitted feeling most comfortable around certain members during difficult periods of his career. Others recalled how Seokjin often stayed close to Jungkook during exhausting schedules, especially during stressful tours when pressure inside the group became overwhelming. None of those moments seemed important before, but after the viral concert clip, every forgotten interaction suddenly felt connected. The emotional theories became stronger overnight. Some fans believed Jungkook unconsciously searches for Seokjin whenever he feels mentally overwhelmed in public spaces. Others thought Seokjin had quietly become one of the few people capable of calming Jungkook without effort. While nobody truly knew the reality behind their bond, the atmosphere captured in the video felt too authentic for fans to ignore. It was not dramatic enough to feel fake. In fact, the simplicity of the interaction made it even more emotional. People started noticing details they had completely overlooked during previous concerts. Jungkook often turning towards Seokjin first after emotional performances. Seokjin watching Jungkook during moments of exhaustion while cameras focused elsewhere. Their tendency to stand near each other even in situations where they did not need to. These tiny patterns slowly built a narrative fans could not stop thinking about. As edits continued flooding TikTok and YouTube, viewers became obsessed with one specific question. Why did Jungkook look genuinely at peace beside Seokjin? The question itself carried enormous emotional weight because fans rarely saw Jungkook fully relaxed during major public events anymore. Over the years, pressure, fame, expectations, and constant attention had visibly changed him. Fans often described him as someone carrying enormous responsibility silently behind his smiles. Yet during this one interaction, something about him looked lighter, younger, almost carefree again. That contrast alone made the clip feel deeply personal to millions of viewers. The mystery intensified after several fans attending the concert shared their own experiences online. Many claimed the chemistry between Jungkook and Seokjin felt even stronger in person than through videos. Some described how Jungkook repeatedly searched for Seokjin visually across the stage throughout the night, even during unrelated moments. Others noticed Seokjin quietly reacting whenever Jungkook laughed nearby, as though both of them were constantly aware of each other, without trying to be obvious about it. Then another hidden detail surfaced. A fan-recorded angle from farther away revealed something nobody noticed before. Seconds after the viral laughter ended, Jungkook briefly lowered his head while still smiling, and Seokjin immediately looked at him differently afterward. Softer, quieter, almost concerned for a split second before returning to normal again. The moment lasted barely 2 seconds, but it completely changed the emotional tone of the interaction for many fans. Because suddenly, the clip no longer felt like simple playful chemistry on stage. It started feeling like two people silently taking care of each other in ways nobody fully understood. That theory spread faster than anyone expected. Fans began discussing how emotional exhaustion inside fame often creates invisible bonds between people who survive it together. They believed Jungkook and Seokjin had reached a point where comfort no longer required explanations. A single glance seemed enough. A small laugh seemed enough. Even silence between them carried emotional meaning strong enough for millions of strangers to feel through a screen. Days later, the viral moment still dominated fan discussions worldwide. Not because fans discovered clear answers, but because every replay only created more questions. Questions about what Jungkook was truly feeling while staring at Seokjin before the laughter began. Questions about why Seokjin reacted so instinctively every single time Jungkook looked toward him. And perhaps the biggest question haunting fans the most, how many hidden emotional moments between them had already happened long before anyone finally started paying attention.